The markets have been wildly fluctuating, both today and the futures yesterday. I'm sure all of you have been keeping an eye on it because you're interested in, seeing what happens. This morning, we saw a swing of thousands of points on the Dow. Up and down, bouncing and moaning on it. Why? Because of fake news. Hold on, I have the thread. Just keep in mind, when you look at this, this caused a $7 trillion swing. The Walter Bloomberg, or Delta One Twitter account, reported this incorrectly, that Trump administration financial advisor Hassett said that Trump is considering a 90-day pause in tariffs for all countries except for China. This is made up. It's not real. Who is this guy? I don't know, but I think people might think that this is Bloomberg because his last name is Bloomberg. I think that might actually be what we're dealing with here. Following this tweet, a huge range of news sources from CNBC to Reuters reported this as though it was true. Reuters, off a tweet. Look at this. As a consequence of the swing, this is what the Dow has looked like today. Previous close was 38,300, opened at 37,800, dipped all the way down to 36,700. Fake news tweet bumps way back up, 38,700. We're talking trillions of dollars swinging. And right now, the market's still in fluctuation. The only actual news that we've gotten today that I'm aware of is, there are two bits of news. For one, Netanyahu was interested in having a meeting with Trump to negotiate tariffs. And Trump, ever the ardent defender of Palestinians, canceled the meeting, apparently. And two, Trump has threatened to apply even more severe tariffs to China if they don't lift their reciprocal tariffs by tomorrow. He's threatening 104% combined tariffs. Can that really be attributed to that one tweet? Yes. No, literally. Like, that is what happened. It was that one tweet. That one single tweet caused a multi-trillion-dollar swing. What's the point in high tariffs on China past the point where no American company would import goods? It sounds scarier. So all I have to do is name myself Bloomberg and say the stocks I own are going to go boom? I mean, like, yeah, literally. Like, genuinely, yeah. The fact that even Reuters, I mean, CNBC let alone, but Reuters are reposting fake news like that. The media environment is cooked beyond belief. There's no, like, just, it's the goddamn Wild West. Also, the EU is taking a pussyfoot step. Okay, Skynet Zero, this is the third time you've said another country is bad for saying they want 0 tariffs. Every country is going to say that. I don't know why you keep saying that. I remember that it's you every time. You said it with Vietnam, you said it with Taiwan, and now you're saying it with the EU. And every time you say it, I respond by saying, of course they're going to say that. That's what you'd expect. I don't know why you keep repeating it. They're telling Trump to back down. So the crash thing was fake and now the economy is back to normal? No. No. I would say that today the economy is in a state of cope. The fact that the market swung that much up because of one tweet suggests to me that people are desperate to buy the dip. I think that people, like, right now are, because we're only like 2 days out from the tariffs being implemented. People are so desperate to, like, catch the market. They're going to latch onto anything. I think people still don't understand how bad this is going to get. People are still acting out of, cope, I guess. The CEO of BlackRock said today he could see the market dipping by another 20 points. Percentage points. Not 20 points. 20 percentage points. So we're going to be waiting for Black Wednesday rather than Black Monday. Well, I said it was going to be Orange Monday. The fluctuations that we've been seeing are extremely interesting. Hold on one second. Oh, I should note, by the way, that while the American market is in a state of, like, cope, the rest of the world market is doing really poorly. I think they triggered the circuit breaker in like 7 countries, didn't they? They triggered it in China, Taiwan, Japan, all of Europe basically is down. China's markets are down like 12% or something. Like it's bad in the rest of the world. But they need to band together to fuck us, because all of them have only had a tariff added from one country. We've added it on all countries, and they should add it back in return. You know, it is literally a global version of the prisoner's dilemma. where any one of those countries has the opportunity to cave in and become like the one country with preferential trading status with the United States by circumventing the tariffs. But the best thing for the world to do is to stand strong together and not kowtow, so that we're the ones who suffer most. They need to work on developing strong economic ties with each other. We are the antagonists. We are. 100%. How likely is that? Well, it's already happening. To an extent. But yeah, the Chinese market is not looking great. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index slumped more than 10% in morning trade, which if sustained would make for the benchmark's largest daily fall since the 2008 financial crisis. Hong Kong lists shares of HSBC and Standard Chartered tumbling 15%. And it's probably going to get worse, too, because Trump has threatened to increase these tariffs. And I really don't think Xi Jinping is going to back off the tariffs that they have on us. Don't worry, the stars are their brightest when it's dark. That is true. That is true. China's markets being down is because they had holidays. That is a good point, right? They had holidays during Thursday and Friday, so their market isn't reflecting the changes that took place after Trump's announcement. Their market wasn't open during that time. This has to be people trying to buy the dip, right? Well, I think that a lot of people want to try to outsmart the market, but it seems like this is a pretty broad collapse, you know?
This is CNN Breaking News.
And we begin this hour with breaking news. Another white-knuckle day is already unfolding up on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow is down about 900 points, a little bit more than 900 points. Fear of a global recession. Those fears are alarming investors here in the United States and indeed around the world, even as President Trump's advisors try to downplay the growing concerns.
There's no escaping the fact that business leaders are really losing confidence, given the fact that, there doesn't appear to be any reversal happening here on negotiations. President Trump telling American businesses instead to hang tough. How can businesses plan when they don't really know where all of this is going to land?
Yeah, Christina, that is the big problem. They don't know what the cost of their goods is going to be, and so they don't know right now. Should they be hiring workers, or should they be firing them? Should they be
probably firing,
or should they be expanding? I mean, it just creates mass confusion. Now, you look at the markets right here. The Dow is up by almost 1,000 points, 2.5%. The S&P 500 down by 2%. Earlier, the S&P did enter bear market territory, which signals a 20% decline from a previous high. Now, the
oof.
The S&P is trading just above that. The key number to watch is 49.15. If the S&P closes below 49.15, then this would be the second fastest bear market in history, second only to COVID in 2020. Of course, then it was a deadly virus. Now it's a...
What do bear and bull mean? Bear means no, and bull means yay, more or less. That's the gist of it. Dude, look at this shit. People are trying to outperform the market so goddamn hard. Look at this. Nvidia started down nearly 7%, up 3% now. It makes sense stuff like this would be happening with Nvidia, because Nvidia is exactly the kind of stocks that like sweat lord Wall Street bets types would be focusing on. It's all over the place. It's a very volatile stock. Yeah, no, the impression that I get from all of this is like, obviously Wall Street, like stock value, very disconnected from like actual real world economic performance, right? Loss leaders, that's a thing. It's been a thing for a long time, but there is some kind of correlation. And I think that what we're seeing is like a last gasp, basically, before the tariffs actually come in. I think a lot of people still don't really understand how bad this is going to be. When it came to something like COVID, the thing about the COVID lockdown was that it wasn't really politicized when it happened. Well, not that much. I'm sorry, I should add an asterisk to that. When the COVID lockdown happened, it was like, oh, holy shit, this is happening. But I think that people responded to it in a, I don't want to say in a rational way, but I think that people treated it a little bit more the way they would treat a disaster before the world became as stupid as it is now. And now this is like a hyper ideologically driven, hyper polarized environment where even business moguls are like, well, actually, Trump is lying about the tariffs. He's going to pull it back at the last second. Like, what are you supposed to do with regards to analyzing the market when even the people whose job it is to predict market fluctuations are going like, well, Trump is probably going to like stop doing the thing he's doing. It's probably like a meme or something, you know? How do you engage with that? It's really, really, really difficult to. People are bought in on the ideology. I think people had a more coherent and reasonable understanding of what the COVID lockdowns would look like for the economy than they do what this is going to look like. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm tired of good things. I want bad things. True. But yeah, no, Fisk, BlackRock CEO, and a few others are predicting a severe continuous market decline. I guess we'll see what happens.
Self-inflicted trade war. And the big fear is that, this is going to cause prices to go up, is going to cause global trade to grind to a halt, and potentially even an economic downturn. We are hearing from more business leaders, some of whom have been quiet about tariffs recently. Some of them are speaking out. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, he said in his annual shareholder letter that, tariffs, they could increase inflation. He said whether or not the menu of tariffs causes a recession remains in question, but it will slow down growth. America first is fine as long as it doesn't end up being America alone. Some are even invoking Smoot-Hawley.
I don't want to be a downer, but I'm confused. If the stock market is still up from where you were 5 years ago, how will this cause a Black Monday panic sell? Imagine you have a business that's been steadily growing for years and years and years, and you go from 1 store to 5 stores to 20 stores to 200 stores to 1,000 stores, and all of a sudden, due to economic downturn, you have to go from 1,000 stores back to 200, even though 5 years ago you only had 100 stores. No matter, even like, you can't just go, oh, well, we've been here before. Like, all of the infrastructure, all the expectations that you've set, you're like putting thousands of people out of work. You're cutting trade contracts. You're leaving businesses vacant. You're depriving the city that you had the business in, the revenue of your property taxes. Like, it's never as easy as just like, well, we've operated at this level before, you know? It'd be like if you became anorexic and dropped to like 67 pounds and someone was like, well, you were that weight in 3rd grade. So, you know, it's just, yeah, but your bones weren't that big back then. You had a smaller rib cage or whatever.
1930 law passed by the U.S. Congress that sent tariffs skyrocketing and made the Great Depression even worse than it had to be. Take a listen to former St. Louis Fed President Jim Bullard on CNBC this morning.
This has dramatically raised the risk of a Smoot-Hawley type outcome. So Smoot-Hawley was 1930. Other countries retaliated, global trade collapsed, and the Great Depression was on. So I think that's really what has people worried about this. It doesn't have to work out that way.
Some very strong words there from a former Federal Reserve official. There's others that are speaking out too. Bill Ackman, the billionaire hedge fund CEO who endorsed Trump for this election, he's basically pleading with the president to hit the pause button on this trade war. And he said, if not, we're heading for a self-induced economic nuclear winter, and we should start hunkering down. Also, just want to look at things historically to just sort of show you how bad the market has been lately. So the S&P 500 entering today, this does not even count today's losses. Entering today, the S&P 500 is off to its worst start to any presidential term in modern history since the S&P launched in the 1950s. It's just staggering, and you can see how much lower the market is under Trump 2.0 than it was at this point under Trump 1.0. So we got to listen. We have to wait and see whether or not the president's going to heed these warnings from CEO.
I don't think he will. It seems like he won't. He's doubled down on tariffs to China, canceled a meeting with Netanyahu to rescind tariffs, and apparently he said that if the if Congress tries to hamper his tariffs on Canada, he will simply veto the bill, which is his legal right. So yeah, I don't think he's gonna stop, man. I think he's pretty committed to the bit, to be honest with you. Can't they prevent his veto? Not without a supermajority. You think they're waiting now like a game of chicken to see who sells first so they all sell? I just don't think people are emotionally so once you start selling, everyone starts selling. But like I don't think a lot of people are capable of understanding how willfully stupid this all is. A lot of people still think there's a plan. In a way, it's kind of like a point in Trump's favor that what is happening right now is so stupid that people will assume there's some deeper meaning to it. Sometimes sometimes it's an informed simplicity thing. Sometimes it really is that stupid. Did you say there was a plan, though? Yeah, the plan, in my opinion, their plan is to crash the economy, but I don't think that's the plan that people who are making, like, attempts to buy the dip think it is. If the people attempting to buy the dip thought the plan was to crash the economy, they would have sold a long time ago, and they would be waiting for, like, peak zero to re-enter into it, you know? The only person who seems to be following that advice is Warren Buffett. If anything, they would have sold immediately to exacerbate the dip. They would want it to go as low as possible so they can buy in at the lowest price. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. And that was your expert stock analysis. There will be more.